WNBA All-Star starters and reserves were also announced.
They put Caitlin Clark number 9 as far as the guards go.
I mean, it's baffling.
However, I do take it as a sign of disrespect to Caitlin Clark.
WNBA players exposed for backstabbing. Caitlin Clark in All-Star player voting. The WNBA All-Star player voting results dropped, and what they revealed was straight up wild. On July 1st, 2025, fans gave Caitlin Clark a record-shattering 2.93 million votes, the highest in league history. Yet, WNBA players ranked her 9th among guards. 9th! The same players who full-court press her every night suddenly acted like she doesn't even belong?
And we also got a peel back the curtain reveal on what the other players in the league think of Caitlin Clark.
Stirred up the internet last night was when we found out how the players ranked some of their fellow players, and of course, specifically Caitlin Clark.
WNBA players just got exposed, and not by some anonymous source or leaked footage, but by their own votes. Let's call it what it is, a full-blown backstab of Caitlin Clark.
She's tied for the league lead in assists, for crying out loud. She's averaging 18 points a game. I mean, she's in a 3-game shooting downturn. All right?
She's the rookie who's breaking records, driving up ratings, and filling arenas the league couldn't fill for years. She's tied for the league lead in assists, averaging 18 points per game, and just a few weeks ago, she notched a triple-double.
Then the media ranked her as the 3rd best guard, and the players ranked her as the 9th best guard. There's no person in the world who can convince me that there are 8 better guards than Caitlin Clark in the WNBA.
And yet the players ranked her 9th among guards in the All-Star voting. 9th. That's not an oversight, that's not just voting variance. That's a calculated hit.
Record-breaking number of fans who voted this year for All-Star, so that was really cool to see.
And here's what makes it worse. Caitlin Clark wasn't just popular, she was dominant in fan support. 2.93 million votes. That's more than double what most players received. The media had her ranked 3rd, showing even sports writers who don't always buy the hype still see her value. But the players, they buried her.
Kelsey Plum, by the way, 16th best. Let me just keep it real. What do those two have in common? Oh, they're straight and they're white.
And don't forget, this is the same league where Paige Bueckers, a rookie, gets ranked above her. Where Natasha Cloud, who has nowhere near the numbers Clark has, ends up 4th. Even Kelsey Plum, having a career best season, gets thrown down at number 16. This isn't a coincidence. It's a coordinated cold shoulder.
And it confirms exactly what we think. The other players in the league can't stand Caitlin Clark.
These players saw what Clark brought to the league, spotlight, money, attention, and decided they didn't want her to have it. Not because she didn't earn it, because she earned it too fast. Because the fans love her too much, because she doesn't play the politics they do.
And huge shout out to Paige Bueckers. She is having a great season.
And the result? Full court presses, elbows, blindside hits, cheap fouls. She's being targeted on the court game after game. She's already missed 7 games due to injury, and it's not just bad luck, it's what happens when you're the one the league wants, but the locker room doesn't. This is deeper than basketball. It's emotional. It's personal.
Yes, you have somebody in Caitlin Clark who became the face of the league the first year that she was in the WNBA. She put up crazy numbers last season, and even in this season where she has struggled more games than she has balled out, she is still putting up wild numbers.
Because Caitlin Clark, whether they admit it or not, is the reason people are watching again. It's her name that's trending. It's her jerseys flying off shelves. It's her face on every broadcast. And instead of embracing that, the players voted to silence it. They didn't just snub her, they tried to humiliate her. But here's the truth. You can ignore her in the vote. You can undercut her behind closed doors, but when the cameras roll and the ball tips off, you still have to guard her like she's the best in the league, and that says more than any vote ever could.
When it comes to Caitlin Clark, these players are not getting any better. I think they're locked in, they're bound and determined to hate on the Indiana Fever guard.
So let's just say what everyone else is too scared to say out loud. Caitlin Clark doesn't fit the mold, and that's the real reason she's getting snubbed. It's not about her stats, it's not about her turnovers, it's not about her rookie status, it's about identity, and more specifically, identity politics. Caitlin Clark is straight, white, traditional, and, most importantly, she's not political. She's not out here tweeting about Trump. She's not turning post-game pressers into podium speeches. She's not waving any flags or checking any activist boxes. And in a league that's branded itself around activism, that makes her a problem.
Paige Bueckers actually had a higher weighted score than Caitlin Clark. The fans ranked her at 2, the media ranked her at the 5th best guard, and the players ranked her as the 4th best guard. However, if you are going to rank Paige Bueckers 5 slots above Caitlin Clark, at this point in time, even if we look at the statistics of the two of them, it just doesn't make sense.
Let's break that down, because this is where the WNBA exposes itself. Natasha Cloud isn't having a bad year, but her numbers aren't even close to Clark's. Yet somehow, players gave Cloud a higher ranking. Why? Because she checks every political box the league seems to reward. She's vocal, she's activist-driven, she's made headlines not for her basketball but for her takes on Trump, Elon Musk, and social issues.
They may not be as loud on social media. They may not be as loud on these talk shows, talking and pushing out a narrative and pushing out an agenda. They learned that lesson last year. Ooh, not a good route to go. We need to conspire in the darkness.
Injury. Come on. This is insanity. And I think it's an activist vote by the women of the WNBA who simply cannot stand her success.
This isn't just a coincidence anymore. This is a pattern. The WNBA has created this unspoken rulebook where if you don't publicly toe the ideological line, you're going to be left out in the cold. Call it gatekeeping, call it bitterness, call it whatever you want, but the end result is the same. Caitlin Clark is being punished not for what she's doing wrong, but for what she represents. She brings in fans from middle America, from conservative households, from families who just want to watch a good game without getting lectured. And somehow that entire fan base is viewed by WNBA players not as an asset, but as a threat.
And so, America loves her. The fans clearly love her. The media likes her, but the players can't stand her.
And here's the real kicker. Clark doesn't even talk politics. She doesn't tweet about Trump. She doesn't go on rants. She stays silent. But in today's WNBA, silence isn't neutral. It's offensive. If you're not publicly aligning with the cause, you're treated like you're on the other side. And when you're silent and wildly popular, that just makes you even more dangerous, because it exposes the uncomfortable truth. Fans aren't coming for the politics. They're coming for Caitlin. Now, if you thought the drama ended there, buckle up, because the plot twist coming up might be the best part of this entire soap opera.
Holding everybody off, putting Cheryl Reeve and the Minnesota Lynx on their heels, because that's how big of a difference maker Caitlin Clark will be.
Let's talk about Cheryl Reeve. If there's anyone in the WNBA coaching circle who has been a vocal critic of Caitlin Clark's rise, it's Reeve. She's the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx and a longtime face of the league. She's aligned herself with media voices like Christine Brennan, who has openly minimized Clark's contributions and brushed off the Caitlin effect as overhyped. Reeve has publicly questioned the attention Clark gets, suggested that the hype around her is manufactured, and generally made it clear she's not buying the legend.
Now, Cheryl Reeve has found herself in Charlotte's web yet again, going way back to the decision to snub Caitlin Clark from the last year's Olympics.
Well, she's going to have to now. By virtue of having the best team record as of July 4th, Cheryl Reeve is officially the head coach of Team Clark in the All-Star game. Let that sit for a second. The same coach who spent the last few months downplaying Clark's influence now has to draw up plays for her, smile on the sideline, and pretend she's thrilled to be part of the ride. This is the kind of twist that writers dream about. You literally could not script this better. It's reality TV in sneakers.
She should have been voted by the players differently. And I'm honestly not going to harp on this too long, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
The WNBA was not everybody watches. That wasn't the case. But you guys want to act like it was? Don't call me. You guys can explain why the viewership has been raising, why the attendance has been raising without using my name.
Let's clear something up right now. The idea that the WNBA was experiencing booming viewership before Caitlin Clark arrived is a flat-out myth. This narrative keeps getting pushed by players and even some league officials as a way to downplay her impact, but it simply doesn't hold up when you look at the numbers. Before Clark ever laced up in a Fever jersey, the WNBA hadn't drawn a single regular season game with more than 1 million viewers in 16 years. That's not growth, that's stagnation. But now that she's in the league, suddenly, nationally televised games are pulling in record-breaking numbers, arenas are sold out, and media deals are actually being talked about in meaningful ways.
No matter what Caitlin does, it seems to be something where she's either going to have to tirelessly earn the respect of her colleagues or she's never going to get it.
Clark didn't just show up and give the WNBA a small boost. She set off a tidal wave. Since her debut, WNBA merchandise sales have skyrocketed by 550%. That's not a bump. That's a total market shift. And the face on those jerseys flying off the shelves? It's Caitlin Clark.
Why would you need to blitz her off of any screen? Why would you need to be physical with her if she wasn't that great of a player? Or you're just wasting your energy and you just simply don't like her. It's either one of the other.
And here's where the hypocrisy comes in. The same people downplaying her importance are riding her coattails behind the scenes. The league's marketing campaigns? Clark front and center. The broadcast promos? Clark's face, Clark's name, Clark's highlights. They're building the WNBA's future around her image while simultaneously pretending she's just one of many. But that's the thing, you can't say she's not the engine while you're sitting in the passenger seat enjoying the ride.
There is no point. All that this does is expose the players in the league for hating on Caitlin Clark.
Meanwhile, on the court, things are even uglier. Caitlin Clark hasn't just been disrespected in the voting booths, she's been targeted physically almost every night she plays. And this isn't a coincidence. It's been a season full of incidents, and you don't need to be an expert to see the pattern.
Whether it's jealousy, whether it's envy, whether it's we don't want you here, folks, they don't want her here.
This is the kind of stuff that would spark outrage in any other league. In the NBA, one flagrant foul gets you fined. In the WNBA, Clark just gets up, dusts herself off, and keeps playing while the refs swallow their whistles. And let's not forget the consequence of this physical abuse. She's already missed 7 games with injuries, including the most recent groin issue that sidelined her during a critical stretch. Yet even with all of that, she's still averaging 18 points and 8.9 assists per game, tied for the league lead in assists. These aren't just good rookie numbers. These are elite.
I just don't understand, if she is your 9th best guard in the league, why do you continue to game plan and play defenses the way that you do against her? Why would you need to pay such close attention to the 9th best guard in the league?
And this is where the hypocrisy really stings. Players who ranked Clark as the 9th best guard are guarding her like she's Michael Jordan in his prime. She gets the full court press, the double teams, the face guarding, the blitzes. It's relentless, and it doesn't make sense, unless you realize that what they say and what they do are completely disconnected. They'll fill out a ballot pretending she's not a threat, then spend 40 minutes on the floor proving the exact opposite. There's a saying that floated around one of the podcasts. They guard her when she gets off the plane. And it's not a joke. Teams are planning entire defenses around stopping Clark, yet those same players won't even give her a top 5 vote? It's comical. The game footage exposes the real agenda. They can say she's not a problem, but their entire playbook says otherwise. All of this has started a conversation that used to be unthinkable, but now feels very real. Should Caitlin Clark leave the WNBA? There's serious momentum behind this question, and fans are talking. Overseas leagues in countries like Turkey, Russia, and Italy regularly pay elite women's players over $1 million per season, much more than Clark is currently earning here. And if a country like Saudi Arabia launched a women's league tomorrow, they'd likely offer Clark $10 million or more just to be the face of it. That's how much value she brings.
Doing all of this because you're trying to stop her because you know how lethal she can be on the court, or you're doing all of this because you don't like her.
And yet, in the WNBA, she's treated like a controversial figure, like she's the problem, not the solution. She's physically targeted, publicly disrespected, and constantly diminished by players and media alike. How long is she supposed to take that before saying, maybe this league isn't for me? And fans are asking the same thing. They've watched her elevate the WNBA to new heights while being dragged down every step of the way. Maybe it's time for her to explore options where she's actually appreciated, where her presence isn't seen as a threat, but as an opportunity. Because sometimes it's not about outgrowing a league. Sometimes the league was never built to support you in the first place. If you're tired of the backstabbing and ready for the truth, hit like and subscribe. We've got receipts.